The purpose of today's press briefing is for our Elections Directorate to update the nation on the ongoing voter registration blitz. However, before we get into that important update, a few remarks. Now, in the next few months, the citizens head to the polls to decide on our collective future. There have been many elections before, all of which have not quite brought the change we desire. However, in true Zimbabwean form, the citizens refuse to give up or lose hope. We've been overwhelmed by the hunger of people, young and old, of all creeds, tribes and genders for change across all provinces, and their hunger for a Zimbabwe that works for the many and not the few. Since we announced our new movement on the 24th of January 2022, it's grown beyond all expectations. They thought they buried us. They didn't realize that we're proverbial seeds. Now, Change Champion-in-Chief Advocate Nelson Chamisa recently laid out the Zimbabwe agenda for 2023, which is based on 5 pillars, as you all know. The first being that we're going to lead a citizens campaign and a broad-based volunteers program. This is going to see an unprecedented mass movement of citizens coming together like never seen before on the continent. And we've got an energetic team of volunteers, and we encourage all citizens to get involved in this campaign. It won't be an elite campaign, it will be a grassroots campaign. The second pillar is that we've revolutionized and changed our candidate selection process. We're going to have citizen representatives. Communities are going to select their own candidates by consensus. In true democratic fashion, we're going to give communities a voice in deciding who their representatives are. This is a truly democratic system that gives power back to communities whose voices have not been heard so strongly in the past. The third pillar of Agenda 2023 is the need for us to all secure and defend the vote. President Nelson Chamisa indicated that we're going to have polling agents at every single polling station across the length and breadth of Zimbabwe. He also indicated that we're looking at a number of about 44,000 polling stations, polling agents across the country. And this also requires all citizens to make sure that they participate in defending their votes so that we win the nation for change. The fourth pillar is around alternative policy formulation. And we're going to have a new Great Zimbabwe blueprint that sets out our plan to govern the nation. The fifth pillar is around global advocacy for change, where we're going to be working with and lobbying SADC, the African Union, United Nations to ensure that we internationalize the struggle for a better Zimbabwe. So in line with this agenda, our next steps, obviously we've got the voter registration blitz that my colleague from the Elections Directorate is going to speak to just now. But after that, we're going to go straight into community candidate selection by consensus. And just to be clear, the communication as to when this will be rolled out will be made officially through our official channels. So make sure you tune in for that. We're going to ensure that the process is transparent and widely publicized, so everybody can look forward to that. And if you do have an interest in standing, please look out for that announcement so that communities also step up. We want to ensure that in all streets, all communities, all villages, citizens have a voice in deciding who represents us as citizens in the upcoming government. The next step, obviously, is around proclamation. In terms of our electoral law, Mr. Mnangagwa is to proclaim the election date. Thereafter, the voters' roll will be closed. And after that, we'll have the nomination, the formal court nomination process of candidates. And then we're going to see our mass citizen campaign that President Nelson Chamisa spoke of in full swing. Now, our goal is to win hearts and minds. We've got a plan, as you'll hear at the launch of our new Great Zimbabwe Blueprint, to build new infrastructure through efficient stewardship of our resources and prudent prudent fiscal management. You're going to be voting for an energy plan that includes credible guarantees to independent power producers, flexible licensing for renewable energy investors, accelerated investments in large-scale power projects, and an overhaul of our transmission networks. I think we all are having trouble with the excessive load shedding, and that's going to be a thing of the past when the citizens win Zimbabwe for change. We're also going to deliver a modern health plan, where our budget meets the Abuja Declaration on Budgetary Allocations to Health, keeping our health workers at home through better pay, and harnessing the vast talent pool in the private and public sectors. We also have an education plan. As we all know, education is the bedrock of any successful nation. We will ensure that teachers are paid adequately and there's sufficient capital funding in schools, and we update our curriculum to make sure that it's fit for purpose. Our farmers will be voting for our agricultural policy, which rewards farmers for their hard work. It does not rob farmers through opaque programs that benefits the elite. The farmers will vote for title deeds to their land and better prices for their crops. We similarly have a mining policy that's going to ensure that we rectify all the anomalies that we currently see in the mining sector, which seems to be benefiting elites through gold smuggling, which is costing the fiscus $100 million US every single month. We're going to see an end to that. And we also have an anti-corruption plan to ensure that there's sincerity in the fight against corruption. Now, obviously, we note the last-minute attempts by ZANU-PF to throw trinkets at traditional leaders, our chiefs, at soldiers, at civil servants, but the citizens know how much they've been suffering over the past 5 years. And what we commit to as the CCC is restoration of our dignity collectively as Zimbabweans. And so I'll just end with a call to action for the citizens. As always, it's the courage of Zimbabweans that will carry all of us through. We applaud the heroic efforts and defiance of the citizens. We continue to call for the release of Honorable Job Sikhala, who today has been detained for 275 days. And finally, we continue to encourage everybody to hop onto the 1+5 campaign. Ensure that all who are around you are registered to vote so that we win Zimbabwe for change. Without further ado, I'm going to defer proceedings to our Elections Directorate, who today are going to be represented